supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases and medical facilities out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back, and now we dive into the details and summaries for today. Rivers State Police Command says its operatives have rescued a teenager who was kidnapped in Enugu and transported to Port Harcourt in a Ghana Must Go bag. The State Police Commissioner Olatunji Disu, during a news conference in Port Harcourt, said the teenager was repeatedly raped by her kidnappers after being taken to Port Harcourt, adding that the crime was uncovered when police officers in Abloma police station received credible intelligence regarding the of one of the suspects. The police commissioner said in Port Harcourt, the victim was taken to the residence of an alleged internet fraudster, while another suspect repeatedly had carnal knowledge of the teenager. In Lagos, Lagos State government has raised the alarm over an imminent building collapse at Po 20 Barracks, Onigbongbo, in Ikeja area of the state. This as the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency is set to begin emergency evacuation at the old Block 3 sections of the barracks. In a statement issued on Wednesday, the Permanent Secretary of LASEMA, Damilola Oke Osayintolu, said its response team has assessed some parts of the structure and found them to be in precarious condition. Oke Osayintolu stated the building and adjacent structures would also be evacuated immediately to prevent any loss of lives or property. He, however, urged members of the public with vicinity to remain calm and refrain from spreading misinformation on social media. He also assured that the situation was being closely monitored and managed. The Force Officer Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, in a statement in July, disclosed that the police were carrying out a comprehensive renovation of some police barracks in the state. He noted that the renovation would be carried out in partnership with the state government. In a different story, operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, laid siege to the Kogi State Government Lodge Asokoro on Wednesday night in an attempt to forcefully arrest former Governor Yahaya Bello. A statement issued by Bello's Director of Media, Ohiari Michael, said EFCC operatives were shooting sporadically. Michael, while condemning the attack, urged Nigerians to hold EFCC responsible if anything happens to Bello. Recall that Bello visited the EFCC voluntarily early today, but the commission told him to leave and come later in the day. The statement reads, "It has come to our notice that people suspected to be operatives from the EFCC are currently around the Kogi Government Lodge, Asokoro, in an attempt to forcefully arrest former Governor Yahaya Bello. They were shooting sporadically. We want to place it on record that the EFCC should be held accountable if anything onwards happens to him." Tonight's attacks was needless as the former governor made himself available to the EFCC in their office for interrogation. The EFCC had no questions to ask Alhaji Yahaya Bello in the morning, but suddenly they are out to arrest him. This action is condemnable. They have displayed the very reason many Nigerians believe they are fighting political battles instead of the mandate to fight corruption. This action reflects much more than the fight against corruption. We will keep Nigerians posted. 153 days after he was declared wanted, former Governor Yahaya Bello for questioning over an alleged management of 80.2 billion naira. The EFCC, however, rejected the method by which he reported to the commission. Bello came in the company of his successor, Governor Ahmed Ododo, and some dignitaries which the agency said violated its invitation protocol. Despite Bello's presence, EFCC did not attend to him. The EFCC insisted that Bello was still wanted and not in its custody. Director of the office, Michael Ohiare, said Bello reported to the EFCC and showed his great respect for the rule of law and constituted authority. Bello defied early morning rains to report to the EFCC. However, no official was available to attend to him because he came in a convoy with the governor. It was learned that EFCC chairman Ola Olukoyede rejected the method of reporting to the commission. A source said, upon realizing that Bello came with the governor and some dignitaries, the executive chairman directed that no official should attend to him. His manner of coming to EFCC was a breach of our protocol. No Nigerian, no matter how highly placed, is expected to come for an invitation in a convoy of vehicles and sitting with the governor. To the EFCC, he came with grandeur, which was contrary to our processes. There are stages of documentation which Bello skipped because he was with the governor, who has immunity. The EFCC also did not invite the governor. So what was the basis for accompanying Bello to the headquarters in Abuja? We have not been comfortable with the roles of the governor in this case. After fulfilling all procedures of documentation, Bello was expected to come with his lawyers or lawyer and not a governor or politically exposed persons. We cannot be intimidated or subject our system to political pollution. This made the executive chairman of EFCC to direct that no official should attend to Bello. He must undergo due process like every other invitee. The commission was unhappy with the preemptive propaganda in the media by Bello's team, which had created false impressions. There was a narration that the ex-governor was already in EFCC's custody. Head of Media and Publicity, Mr. Dele Oyewole, said in a statement, "Media reports today report that Bello is in the holding facility of the EFCC, which is incorrect. The commission wishes to state that Bello is not in its custody. Bello, already declared wanted by the commission for alleged 80 billion naira money laundering charges, remains wanted and is subsisting warrants for his arrest." A top source added, "As long as Bello does not conform with our protocol, our operatives will arrest him. We are still looking for him." In two statements, Michael clarified that Bello voluntarily reported to the EFCC. It said he decided to honor EFCC's invitation after due consultations with his family, legal team and political allies. It said Bello deferred to EFCC in line with his great respect for the rule of law and constituted authority. All the while, he only sought the enforcement of his fundamental rights to ensure due process, the first statement said. In a follow-up statement, the media office said the commission did not question Bello when he reported. The EFCC did not, however, interrogate him as officials told him he could leave. We don't know what this means yet. As we write, Bello has left the EFCC office. The case has been before a competent court of jurisdiction, and Laji Bello had been duly represented by his legal team at every hearing. The former governor decided to honor the invitation to clear his name, as he has nothing to hide and nothing to fear. Michael later alleged that the EFCC operatives laid siege to the Kogi government lodge at Sokoro last night in an attempt to arrest Bello. He claimed they were shooting sporadically. We want to place it on record that the EFCC should be held accountable if anything happens to him, as previously said. The action is condemnable, and they have displayed the very reasons why many Nigerians believe that they are fighting a political battle. This action reflects much more than the fight against corruption and something else. This claim, however, could not be independently verified. Do not forget that we are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials on Atlantic Television Network. You can connect with us on our ATN socials, Facebook, YouTube, and other social media handles at Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, formerly known as Twitter, atlantictv.net, or just live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Moving on, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has said his administration would deliver an upgrade of Ibadan Airport to an international standard within 12 months. He said this yesterday by law. The governor was accompanied to the event by his counterparts from Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Leas Damagun, members of the National Working Committee of the party, amongst others. Makinde said the first phase of the project had been awarded to Cranberg at a cost of 41 billion naira. He thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for approving the state government's request to upgrade the facility. He said the decision to embark on the project was based on logic, science, and data, noting that governments had also upgraded parts of the facilities, which increased the number of airlines, including Ibadan, in their flights schedule. Quoting him, "Anyone who wants to ask what we are doing here, go to Angola. They've just finished their airport, which was delivered at $3 billion. This is no joke. If you want to tap into $3 billion industry, you must be ready to bold. You must be ready to be bold, and we are bold here in Oyo State. We have our data. For those who think this project is not proper, we take decisions based on logic, science, and data. This decision to upgrade this airport is based on solid data and logic. If you have your own data that contradicts, please let us have a public debate. I'm sure in the next 12 months, this project will be delivered. I will push the envelope." We have also upgraded parts of the facilities which increase the number of airlines, including Ibadan, in their flight schedule. Adeleke hailed Makinde for his compassion and commitment to developing and upgrading Oyo State and its people across all facets. Analysts have commended the ban by the Oyo State government on teachers meeting during school hours in order to checkmate and enhance teacher activities during school hours.
Waste time, and the students achieve nothing. So it's a right step in the right direction for me, for teachers to stop holding meetings during school hours. If you want to hold your meetings, probably wait till after school. Give yourself that 30 minutes after the closure of the day. Sit down, discuss. Nobody holds you. Or you come very early in the morning. Hold your meetings, and not to be calling teachers out of the classroom. In fact, sometimes when these meetings hold during break period,
Twadon tasked to school teachers and head of schools on compliance, as well as swift implementation by the Oyo State government.
It extends till after. Hold your meetings, and not to be calling teachers out of the classroom. In fact, sometimes when these meetings hold during break period, it extends till after. Yes, after the break period, and the students will be there doing nothing. But I just wish that this does not just end like this. You know, there are several other lapses that is going on in our education system, and the government of Nigeria need to rise up to.
A statement by Twadon is coming as the Oyo State government have placed a ban on any form of meeting by head teachers or teachers during school hours within or outside any public school premises in the state, saying whoever indulges in such acts will be severely dealt with. The chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Nureni Adenira, announced this while monitoring school resumption in Ibadan, the state capital. We move on to Kano State, where Governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, has dissolved the caretaker chairman of all 44 local government areas with immediate effect. This was disclosed in a statement released by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature. The dissolution comes a week after the State House of Assembly approved a 2-month extension to their tenure, which was initially set to expire in September 8. The extension, according to lawmakers, was intended to ensure continuity in local governance. Local government elections are scheduled to take place on the 26th of October. Yusuf has directed the caretaker chairman to hand leadership to their respective directors of personnel management. Quoting him, "This dissolution applies to all chairmen, vice chairmen, secretaries, and councillors," Yusuf stated. He expressed gratitude to the caretaker chairman for their contributions to the development of their areas and suggested potential future collaboration. Do not forget you're watching Govt&Public Service on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business,
Welcome back to Government and Public Service Reports on Atlantic Television Network. Move on to the next of our stories. Federal government has said it is monitoring and analyzing earth movements in and around Abuja to forestall any further earth tremor in the Federal Capital Territory. The Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, Uche Naji, who disclosed this in an emergency press briefing in Abuja yesterday, said the government would soon implement measures to mitigate the seismic risk. Over the past week, a series of earth tremors have been reported in some parts of the Maitama, Katampe and Mpape areas, causing concerns among residents. Tremors are small, mild, shaking or vibrations on the ground, often caused by minor movements in the earth's crust. It could be recalled that Mpape experienced a similar sequence of earth tremors from September 5th to 7th in 2018, which drew significant local and international attention to Nigeria's increasing seismic activity. The recent tremors were accompanied by loud noises and ground shaking, causing widespread alarm amongst residents. The minister said the government is currently processing and analyzing comprehensive data sets from its seismological and GNSS stations to provide relevant recommendations to the FCT administration. We urge the residents of Mpape and by extension the wider Abuja area to remain calm and continue their normal activities, Naji said. Also, the Nigerian Geological Service Agency, NGSA, has urged residents of the Federal Capital Territory to remain calm. The NGSA Director General Professor Olusegun Ige made the call in a statement on Wednesday in Abuja. He urged the residents of the affected areas and other parts where the tremors were felt not to panic, as the tremors were generally minor and do not pose any threat to the environment. He said the agency was closely monitoring the situation across Nigerians shortchanged in the weights and measurements they pay for. During a routine surveillance operation in Lagos State on Wednesday, the department visited the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in Ijora and Olam Agri in Igamu. The inspection, led by the director of the department and fellow of the Security Institute, Adeshuya Olajide, along with the state zonal coordinator, Ms. Cordelis Mwachuku, resulted in commendations for both organizations, compliance with regulatory standards, health. Olajide stated that the operations, which began in Abuja, aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, aimed at protecting Nigerians from being exploited by sellers and manufacturers through inaccurate measurements. He said, quoting him, "The government wants to make sure that Nigerians get value for their money, especially during this escalating price of materials. If you're buying 10 liters, the government wants to make sure that you get exactly. Nobody can shortchange them. The government does not want any sector of the economy to shortchange consumers. This is because it is in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's agenda. Another reason for this surveillance is regulatory compliance. We inspect unannounced to check what they are doing and ensure that they comply with the regulations in place. The surveillance covers all states and federations. We started this in Abuja last week. Echoing the director's remarks, Ms. Mwachuku emphasized that the department will continue to intensify its efforts to ensure consumers are not cheated or shortchanged through unfair and inaccurate measurements. She continued saying, anyone visits us for inspection to ensure that we do not. Hotels such as Marriott Hotel in Ikeja, their purchase item services also use measurements. We check the weights they use. We inspect fish markets and filling stations where products are sold by measurements. We ensure that they are not using their skills and equipment to cheat Nigerians. We ensure fairness in trade, she stated. Federal government has called on agencies recruiting for the private sector to adhere to the 70,000 naira minimum wage, warning that any deviation would not be tolerated. According to the federal government of Nigeria, the new minimum wage is necessary to address the current economic reality, emphasizing that no Nigerian worker, whether in government or private employment, should be paid less than the minimum wage. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment, Alhaji Ismail Abubakar, stated this on Wednesday when speaking at the 13th Annual General Meetings of the Employers Association for Private Employment Agencies of Nigeria, held in Ikeja, Lagos. Abubakar, who was represented by the Director of Employment and Wages of the Ministry, John Iyamali, said, "The minimum wage is now a law, and as a result, it is punishable crime for any employer to pay less than 70,000 naira to any of its workers. The private employment agencies should make it compulsory in any contract that they take from their principal that their workers do not earn less than the minimum wage. The least paid worker in Nigeria should earn 70,000 naira, and I think that should be after all deductions. The minimum wage is a law, and you can be jailed if you fail to implement it. The federal government is committed to ensuring that the least paid worker goes home with at least 70,000 naira after deductions. In his remarks, the president of the Employers Association of Private Employment Agencies of Nigeria, Dr. Olufemi Ogunlowo, asked the government and Nigerian Labour Congress to clarify whether the 70,000 naira minimum wage is a net payment or gross payment, stating that all ambiguities in the act should be highlighted and explained. According to Ogunlowo, the organization is already committed to minimum wage, providing decent jobs for Nigerians and guarding against the exploitation of human resources. As an employers' union in the private sector, we are committed to implementing the minimum wage. We are a law-abiding and guided association, so principals and clients have also keyed into the minimum wage. However, the government must clarify to us whether the 70,000 naira minimum wage is a net payment or gross. The government should address all ambiguities of the minimum wage, he stated. Speaking at a program, the chairperson of the NLC Lagos State Council, Fumilayo Sesi, said the prevailing hardship made a mess of whatever income any worker was earning in Nigeria, calling on private employers to ensure the payment of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. She said the 70,000 naira minimum wage isn't enough in the current economic realities. By the time the consequential adjustment is concluded, all private employment agencies should immediately start paying their workers 70,000 naira minimum wage. The NLC in Lagos State will see to the strict enforcement of the minimum wage, and the organization should avoid confrontation with the NLC on the issue. Following the proposed release of water from the Lagbo Dam in Cameroon into the River Niger and River Benue states along the flood paths have started planning temporary shelters for affected residents. The federal government alerted Nigerians on Tuesday to the plan by the Cameroonian authorities to release water from the Lagbo Dam. A statement by the Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, Umar Mohammed, listed 11 states at risk. Umar Mohammed went on to list states like Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, Cross River, and River States as being at risk. On Wednesday, the Director of Planning, Research and Statistics of the Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency, Danladi Obagu, told newsmen that the state had begun setting up temporary settlements for residents living in flood-prone areas. Obagu added that sensitization campaigns had begun across the 13 local government areas of the state to enlighten residents about the dangers of living around flood-prone areas. He said, in preparation of the impending floods, venues for the temporary settlement of displaced persons are already being established in flood-prone areas across the state. He added that the agency had deployed officials to Nasarawa, Doma, Toto, Awe, Lafia, Obi, Karu, and Akwanga, the councils, where flooding would occur following the release of water from the Lagbo Dam. Efforts are also being assisted to displace persons with relief materials when the flood arrives to cushion the impact of the hardship they would face. I would therefore like to reiterate the state government's commitment to continue to support all residents suffering from situations of natural disasters and crisis, he added. In Benue State, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Ondoase Kunde, disclosed to newsmen on Wednesday that the government had also begun identifying facilities to be used as temporary shelters for flood victims. Kunde said the government had also set up a technical committee for flood disaster preparedness, mitigation and response. No fewer than 18 local government areas in the state have been identified to be risk of flooding. They included Makodi, Guma, Gwe, West, Katsina Ala, Logo, Agatu, and Apa. This committee has earmarked camps to relocate would-be victims of the flood in case it happens. Some of the camps include the international markets, primary schools at Wurukum and Demekbe in Makurdi, Akume Atongo Stadium in Katsina, and RNC Primary School in Logo, he said. The commissioner urged those living around riverine areas to begin relocation. In Taraba State, the government placed both the State Emergency Management Agency and the National Emergency Management Agency on red alert. The Commissioner for Special Duties and Humanitarian Affairs, Saviour Noko, disclosed this in a telephone interview with our correspondent in Jalingo. Noku said awareness campaigns were already underway through radio and social media to inform residents about the potential dangers. We are working tirelessly to ensure that people understand the gravity of the situation and take necessary precaution. These announcements will continue to air, particularly targeting those living in flood-prone areas. In addition to the ongoing media campaign, 3 speedboats have been deployed to patrol, ready to assist in emergency evacuation and provide swift responses in areas cut off by rising waters. The government has also issued advisories urging residents in floodplains to relocate to safer grounds before the dams release to avoid disaster, he said. The Kwara government, in a statement on it by the Commissioner for Communication, Bola Olukoju, said various government agencies have conducted several public enlightenment programs on flooding and how to mitigate its impact in prone areas. More of such programs are still ongoing, including through radio stations and community leaders. The government has desilted many drainages and water passages within the metropolis while discouraging actions that may excavate the threats of climate crisis and rising water levels, she said. The commissioner added, in riverine communities like Patiji, Edu, and elsewhere, our royal fathers have continued to engage people in areas prone to flooding to relocate to places allocated for the purpose. We appeal to our people to follow this important advisory as the government supports them in various ways. The statement also calls on the federal government to dredge the River Niger as a permanent solution to the perennial flooding in the region. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency listed Patigi and other places and local government areas of the state as flood-prone. Meanwhile, the Borno State Police Command has issued post-flood guidelines to manage the aftermath in case it happens in Maiduguri, the state's capital. In a release issued on Wednesday by the Supervising Police Public Relations Officer, Ahmed Wakil, the State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Yusuf, said they were collaborating with pertinent agencies to uphold law and order and ensure safety, prevent criminal activities, amongst others. It asked residents to remain vigilant and promptly report any suspicious activity or individuals. He continued to say that they should exercise awareness regarding potential incidents, looting, and thefts, that humanitarian aid workers would be on scene to respond to emergencies. It also urged them to validate information before dissemination to avoid misinformation. The Inspector General of the Police, Kayode Egbetukun, has directed the redeployment of the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Dusi, to FCT Command. The shake-up also affects the Delta State Police Command, CP Abaniwanda Olufemi being reassigned to the Rivers State Command. In its place, CP Peter Akbara, who was recently posted to the FCT Command, has been appointed as the new Commissioner of the Police for Delta State. The first spokesman, Muyiwa Adejobi, in a statement on Thursday, said the redeployment was to ensure effective policing in affected areas. He said the Inspector General of the Police, in an effort to strategically emplace a police force well efficient for effective policing, has ordered the immediate redeployment of the Commissioners of Police of Rivers State Command, Delta State Command, and the Federal Capital Territory. The order covers the redeployment of the CP's Rivers State Command, Olatunji Disu, as the new CP of FCT, CP Delta State Command, CP Abaniwanda Olufemi, as the new CP of Rivers State Command, and CP FCT Opara Peter as the new CP of Delta State. Adejobi also said the Inspector General, in accordance with the approval of the Police Service Commission, has deployed 4 CPs to Lagos, Abia, Ebonyi, and Akwa Ibom states. In addition, following the approval of the Police Service Commission, the Inspector General of the Police has also deployed 4 CPs as Commissioners of Police of Abia, Lagos, Ebonyi, and Akwa Ibom State Commands. The deployment includes the posting of P. Danladi Nda to Abia State Command, CP Olarinwaju Ishola Olawale to Lagos State Command, CP Antonia Adako Uchanya, FDC to Ebonyi State Command, and CP Festus Eribo to Akwa Ibom State Command. The posting of these strategic managers reflects the mission of the Inspector General of Police to strategically reposition the police force and ensure maximum utilization of human resources available to the police. He urged that the IG and the CPs to be innovative and ensure personal diligence in their duties. Adejobi said, the IGP has, however, urged the new CPs of the state to remain diligent in all their affairs and to adopt innovations that could mitigate security challenges in all their areas they are responsible for. He further encouraged them to key into the police reform plans, which will help progress of the Nigerian police force and growth in the country. Central Bank of Nigeria has reduced the cybersecurity levy on electronic transfers from 0.5% to 0.005% in its new fiscal guidelines of 2024-2025. This reduction follows the controversial introduction of the levy earlier in the year, which was met with opposition from both the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and bank customers. The CBN, in a statement, said, the CBN shall continue to enforce the payment of the mandatory level of 0.005% on all electronic transfers by banks and other financial institutions by the Cybercrime Act 2015. The levy, introduced under the Cybercrime Act of 2015, amended in 2024, is set to support the National Cybersecurity Fund administered by the Office of the National Security Advisor. The percentage fee will be charged on all electronic transactions conducted by commercial, merchants, non-interest and payment services banks, amongst others. In a directive issued by the CBN on Wednesday, certain transactions will be exempt from the levy, including wage payments, loan disbursements and repayments, and transfers between the same bank accounts or banks for the same clients. The exclusion also covers intra-bank transfers, clearing and settlement of checks, letters of credit, and transactions between banks and the CBN. Earlier in May, President Bola Tinubu ordered a suspension and review of the levy due to widespread protests, and the House of Representatives also demanded its immediate withdrawal. Despite the backlash, the CBN announced it would continue with the levy under the revised rates as part of its monetary and exchange policy for the next fiscal years. Analysts have decried the irregularities and lapses prevalent in the Labour Party. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program, Open Conversation, a social-political analyst, Chizi Yomasila, said the ill administration in Labour Party, if not properly handled, is capable of ruining the political group to extinct.
For another thing, you can say you can make sacrifice for the party to go. Who is going to recognize that? I heard, in one of these news item that he said, look, they are not recognizing the Nemade, that of course the people that called together, a governor, a sitting governor of a political party is not the leader of the party.
Yomasila urged the Labour Party members on a more projectable approach and strategy to move the party forward.
But let us organize the election. So what is his fear? Why did he not just go and now conduct his own congress and now make himself again? Why not come and face the election? Are they saying that the woman now is not the national chairman? They're not saying no. Go and conduct the election. They gave the woman even dates to conduct the election. But while you're conducting this election, we have elections in our hands so that INEC will begin to.
This is coming as the Independent National Electoral Commission says it no longer recognizes Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party, labeling its continued claim to the position as illegal and unconstitutional. This position was made clear in a counter affidavit submitted by Ayuba Mohammed, an executive officer on INEC's litigation and prosecution department recently in response to a suit filed by the Labour Party. Federal government has unveiled an advanced supervisory control and data acquisition system for managing the national power grid. This new technology promises to enhance the efficiency, reliability and sustainability of the country's supply of power, positioning Nigeria